welcome to J Home Divas. I'm Joanne.
I'm Sophia.
In this episode, we are discussing Sunvalley Kids Montessori. According to their website, the best daycare, when you entrust your child care to Sunvalley Kids Montessori Daycare, you can rest assured that we understand how important the early years are to you and your child, especially in terms of education. Sunvalley campuses are equipped with all Montessori, Reggio Emilia, and play-based learning features. Combined with our healthy menu and amazing physical development routines, our programs provide you with all-in-one solution to your child's developmental and childcare needs. And we know their self-proclaimed title as the best daycare can't be true, or we would not be talking about them.
That's right.
After an inspection, Alberta Health Services uncovered nearly 24 health violations, including cockroaches in the kitchen and mouse droppings in the area where children slept, of Sunvalley Kids Montessori Daycare on 2nd Street Southwest, and was temporarily closed by February 2024 among the listed inspections findings.
Several live and dead cockroaches were observed in the kitchen food preparation area, including on the walls, underneath the sink, and in the refrigerator.
Oh my God, that's so gross.
Right.
Sorry. Just gave me the creeps.
Right. Those, are both live and dead. So, And then dead cockroaches and cockroach debris were observed in the kitchen cabinet and drawers. I'm assuming drawers where utensils are. And then your child is eating with those utensils that had cockroach debris on them. Yeah. Mouse droppings were found throughout the facility on the carpet near the napping area, next to the play kitchen, and in contact with children's toys and personal items.
Can I just add, sorry?
Yeah.
After hearing this read out, like, if they're found in the play kitchen, I mean, all that stuff goes in your mouth.
Everything.
Well, not in our mouth, in their mouth, right?
I'm actually surprised they didn't have any illnesses from all this.
Exactly.
Because mouse droppings can be pretty toxic, right?
Right? Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. Staff demonstrated a lack of food safety knowledge and no cleaning schedule was available or implemented for the kitchen. There were other unsanitary conditions in addition to an infestation of mice and cockroaches at the Sunvalley Kids facility, according to Alberta Health Services. Other stated findings at the business included no hand soap in the kitchen, hand washing, sink, nor was an approved food safe sanitizer solution available in the kitchen to sanitize utensils and food contact surfaces. Instead, pine salt and vinegar were being used as sanitizers. Equipment and surfaces throughout the kitchen were dirty, and an accumulation of dirt and debris was found throughout various areas of the facility, including a toy cabinet in the baby room and a basket used to hold children's feeding bottles.
Oh my God. This is so disgusting.
Right? And it hits home with me because I have a friend whose child went there, and it actually happened to somebody close to me. So,
right?
Yeah.
This is basic stuff, right? I mean, even if you don't have any understanding of, like, from a business standpoint, the food and safety regulations.
Yeah.
Just as a normal human being, you kind of know pine sol is not meant
I was
for that.
going to say, right? I'm like, what, pine sol isn't going to sanitize anything. That's just there to clean wood.
Right? I mean, you mop the floor. That's kind of it, right? Like,
yeah, it's not going to do nothing. Not going to sanitize anything at all.
No.
And vinegar. Yeah.
I mean, that's an old school cleaning thing for sure. I mean, I actually use it in my laundry instead of fabric softener. I use vinegar for that. And then occasionally it's good for cleaning certain things in your vehicle. It's really good for. And I mean, I'm like, not to say that it's not good for some cleaning, but it's definitely not
I wouldn't
sanitizing,
sanitize a daycare
right?
with. Yeah. Yeah.
No, like, I mean, it's good for getting the like scaly stuff, right? Like the water scaly
Yeah.
stuff. I forget what it's called, but it's good for getting that off, but not at all for sanitizing your kitchen,
No.
especially the kitchen that you're using to prepare foods for
For
children.
children. Yeah. Yeah. They don't use it in schools, so
Right?
really strict about that in schools too. So yeah.
Yeah, it just simple things. People, come on.
The closure comes 5 months after Alberta Health Services linked an E. coli outbreak at several city childcare facilities to a central kitchen that served the businesses. That 8-week outbreak, first declared in September, sent 39 children and 1 adult to hospital, with 23 diagnosed with hemolytic uremic syndrome and 8 requiring dialysis. This is frightening. I can't imagine what those parents went through. So I personally know a girl whose 2 kids were in the hospital, and they were in the hospital for like a week. They were really, really sick because they got the E. coli, right? From daycare, from eating meatloaf or something like that.
You know, and being on dialysis, that's no joke. Like,
yeah,
I watch, like, my mother-in-law had kidney failure, and we've got more people in the family that have gone through that.
Yeah,
that's no joke at all. Like, being on dialysis, I couldn't imagine. Like, it's heartbreaking watching adults on dialysis. Yeah. I could not imagine seeing a child on dialysis.
Yeah.
And from negligence too. Yeah. Like, not from just nature, like, or whatever, you know, getting sick normally. Like, this is just from someone's negligence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Awful. It's crazy. And then people are like, "Oh, I'm going to send my kids back." Right? It's all good.
Oh my God. You know, when you showed me like the text about like your friend, and I was like, wait a minute, this daycare is still open?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm like, how are they still allowed to be open?
Yeah. And I mean, you can't even, if you Google the daycare, like the news stuff doesn't even come up unless you Google the daycare like news, right?
Honestly, like, I think I may mention this later, but this was a difficult one doing research for. Yeah. I learned some things doing research for this,
right?
Which I'll touch on later, but it's definitely not okay.
Swept under the rug. Hopefully nobody hears or knows about it. Everybody forgets about it, right? Well, some people don't forget about it.
Exactly.
Like me.
Right? We're not going to let people forget about stuff like this. There's no way.
Okay. Although the center was allowed to reopen, mouse droppings were found in the preschool and toddler room. Again, during the Alberta Health Services inspection on April 24th, 2004. The province also discovered 24 non-compliance concerns between April 8th and 25th, 2024. There have been a total of 28 violations since April of 2023, which doesn't include the violations found by Alberta Health Services. The violations under the Early Learning and Childcare Act included failing to follow health and safety requirements, minimum staffing levels and ratios to children, reporting incidents in a correct manner to the director and child guidance concerns. 4 non-compliances were found in total on November 22nd, 2023. 3 were 4 non-compliances, 3 of which were regarding their staff to child ratios. So that's
a big one.
Yeah, they don't have enough staff per child.
Right. That, I mean, on top of the fact that their centers they're not clean, they're not being taken care of properly. Maybe this kind of tells why, because there's not enough staff there.
Yeah.
Right. There's nobody actually watching out for.
When somebody calls in sick, what do? They don't have
Exactly.
like the CBE. They have subs. You call in a teacher, you call in an EA. Like, what do daycares do? They don't have subs. So what do
So
they do?
20 some years ago,
Uh-huh.
oh, it's on 22, 23, maybe even longer. I forget. Anyway, so I used to work at a daycare center, and if someone was sick, they do a lot of shifting of kids. So
Right.
if they can't get anyone else to come in, because sometimes we had like part-time staff that worked like just in the afternoon, or they were brought in from another center. So yeah, everybody kind of shifted around.
Okay.
So like we shifted the kids. So like we put the older kids from the 2-year-old room into the 3-year-old room, the older kids from the 3-year-old room into the 4-year-old room to kind of go with their ratios. Now, I was under the understanding that the ratio in the room goes by the youngest kid in the room.
Okay.
Apparently, that's not true. Apparently, it goes by the majority. I'm not sure that which way is like really true, but
Okay.
anyway, we used to
So
like shift kids.
so now though you have level 1, level 2, level 3. Do you have to have a certain amount of level 3s and a certain amount of level 2s and a certain amount of level 1s? Like what if a level 3 calls in sick and you don't have a level 3 backup?
Exactly.
Like, it's
If
all...
yeah, if I remember correctly, we had 2 level 3s in the center. And so if one of them was not there, like I believe you're okay for a short period of time to
Right.
only have the one,
Right.
or what, like you're allowed to be out of that ratio for like a short period of time. So I'm
Mhm.
not sure if that means like one day while a person is sick, but yeah, I mean, honestly, that's probably what it is. What these ratio, like in non-compliances with ratios, is probably coming down to someone calling in sick, so therefore they don't have the staff,
Oh yeah,
right?
and then they would have to use like the person in the office. I don't know who the person in the office. I remember talking to somebody one time and they said that they were low and they had to use the person in the office, like put
Yeah,
them into the ratio, but then they never went into the ratio. They stayed in the office.
yeah,
They went into the, right? So
yeah.
there's
I
a
mean,
lot
that
of that.
does happen. A
Yeah.
100% that happens. And
Yeah, but then
if
that's not quality childcare. No one, you're
no,
not taking care of your kids in a quality childcare way.
exactly. And then sometimes they call parents and they just say, I'm sorry, your kid can't come today because we don't have enough staff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's normally the last resort, I guess, but it kind of depends on how willing they are to
Oh,
risk
wow.
being caught out of ratio,
Crazy.
right? And I mean, I know that's one of the downsides, I guess, of being with a day home. If your day home provider is sick, then
Yeah.
you don't have care. But as a parent, I would rather have that than know my kid went into a class without enough staff.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're not talking at that point of like one staff member per 6 kids.
Right.
Like you are, but like it's in a bigger amount, right? So they could have like, let's say they had 18 kids. So it would have normally been like 1 to 6, but because one person called in, now there's 18 kids with 2 staff member. That's way
Right.
worse than just, I didn't get to go to work today because my day home provider was sick,
Right.
right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of, they have their struggles too. And I think some of this is going to happen more often now, like with the staff ratios, with the whole flat fee thing. The centers are not going to have the funds to have backup
No.
staff,
No, they're
right?
not.
So,
No,
which I kind of feel should maybe be something that centers should be required to have one extra staff member at
they should.
all times.
Yeah.
And I understand the cost of that, but it's, the cost versus child safety.
Like
Sorry.
a floater, right? They should have a
Yeah,
floater and then they cover people who go to the bathroom and then they can float around and make sure everything is
exactly.
okay and then, cover someone who needs to go for a lunch break or, yeah, they should.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, put it in your budget, figure it out. Everything else has to be in your budget.
Mm-hmm.
This is just something new that goes in your budget.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Okay, so back to it. 6 non-compliances were found in total on April 8th, 2024, following a complaint investigation. So would that be a complaint from a parent, maybe?
Yes, yes. So so they have their regular inspections, which are 1 or 2 per year. That's it. And then if so, right, I mean, that sure gives you the great sense of,
Yeah.
and then they have the inspections when someone files a complaint.
Okay.
So it can be a staff member, it could be a parent, it could just be some random person driving by saying, hey, that looks sketchy.
Okay.
And make a complaint. So then they have a complaint investigation.
Okay. So some of them are comply with zoning, health and safety requirements, incident reporting, nutrition, furnishings and equipment, child guidance, and notice of changes. So those were all those.
Yeah.
Anybody can go online and look deeper into this.
Yeah, you just go to the Alberta Child Care lookup.
Yeah. I'm just going to go through them quickly so everybody knows. 6 non-compliances were found in total on April 8th, 2020. Oh, that's the same date. Okay.
So basically, one was for the complaint investigation. So when they get a complaint, they go and investigate what the complaint was, but then they also do a proper investigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was comply with zoning, incident reporting, nutrition, furnishings and equipment, child guidance, and a notice of changes. Another 6 compliances were found in total on April 8th, 2024, which is comply with zoning, incident reporting, nutrition. It's all the same. Furnishings and equipment, child guidance, notice of changes. 5 non-compliances were found in total on April 25th, 2024. Duty to post, conditions on license.
Yeah, so basically because they had non-compliances, there was conditions on their license that had to be fixed. Like they had to fix those non-compliances and you have to post that. And they didn't.
Okay. Manner of feeding, no beverages provided to children during rest periods. Notice of changes, net floor area for daycare, provide a minimum of 3 square meters per child.
So basically in each room there has to be 3 square meters per child in that room. So if you have too many kids in one room, then you don't have the required amount of space per child.
Okay. Ratios and maximum group size, maximum number of children in the group. So they had too many kids, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. 5 non-compliances were found in total on April 25th, 2024.
So this is again, they had to re-inspect.
Yeah, duty to post. Conditions on license, manner of feeding, no beverages provided, notice of changes, net floor area, and ratios. Right, because that was their second. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're all pretty standard things that daycares are supposed to know and supposed to do. So for them to have non-compliances consistently with these basic things makes me believe that there's some kind of misunderstanding of what the rules actually are.
Yeah.
Soccer, I know, but right? I mean, it seems to be the basic, like when it comes to daycares, you've got your ratios, your base per child, and then your basic cleaning stuff, your levels. Like it's quite simple as far as these are the rules, these are what you have to follow.
Food and water.
Right?
You have to water the children.
Right. That's how they grow. They
need to drink, right? So,
yeah. I couldn't imagine telling the kids that they can't have access to a drink.
Yeah.
Like at any point, That's just basic human function. Come on, people.
Yo, I know. 100%. So now we're going to talk about Chris, who is my personal friend. And take it away.
All right. Chris Holm whose son attended the daycare, filed a complaint with the province authorities and the Calgary Police Service in early March of 2024. Chris told CTV that he began to worry about his 3-year-old son's safety after he came home with some bumps and bruises. Chris said he kept miming that a teacher had pulled him by an arm and that he was scared to go back. A former employee reached out to Chris in late February and said she'd witnessed his son being dragged across the room several times. Chris immediately pulled his son from the program and reported his concerns to the daycare, police, and the province. I cannot imagine this.
Oh my gosh.
It would be infuriating.
Oh my gosh. When I was listening to that recording,
yeah,
we will publish at a later date, I actually teared up because you could hear when he was using the words, "This is my son." You could hear the hurt in his voice. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Right? I mean, I don't know him personally like you do, and I'm listening to it and I'm just bawling. Heartbreaking.
It's crazy.
So the Calgary police stated a thorough investigation was conducted by the Calgary Police Services, and it was determined that no criminal offense occurred. Let me just say that one more time for the people in the back. A thorough investigation was conducted by Calgary Police Services, and it was determined that no criminal offense occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Doesn't surprise me, honestly.
So the CPS has now turned the investigation over to the Calgary Child Delivery and Preventative Family Services. That's the part of the provincial ministry which looks after daycare investigation and licensing. This is actually so infuriating, though. How can they determine that, quote, no criminal offense occurred when
you put your hands on a child? That's abuse, plain and simple.
Right?
And especially if you do not own that child.
Exactly.
That's abuse.
Dragged across a room several times. I am sorry, unless you were pulling that child away from a burning room.
Yeah.
And the child kept letting go and then running back to that burning room 3 times.
Exactly.
There is no reason you would ever drag a child across a room.
Never.
I'm sorry, but that's just unacceptable. And
so heartbreaking. Never.
And they had a witness. They had a witness to this.
Yeah.
And most likely more witnesses, because there would have been other kids in the room.
Yeah.
And I understand they're young kids, but if, I don't know, 3, 4, 10, 3-year-olds are telling you the same thing.
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty credible.
Yeah. I wonder if it happened to other kids. So, it couldn't have just been the one child, right?
Oh, exactly.
Several times there's had to have been other kids too. And parents just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Child abuse, child endangerment, quite frankly, it's bullshit that no charges were filed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the Ministry of Jobs, Economy and Trade, which oversees daycares in the province, responded to CTV News questions about Sunvalley in a statement. To ensure the safety of children attending the program, we continue to monitor the Sunvalley Kids Montessori program and the enforcement of the Child Safety Plan, which included temporarily reducing the program's license capacity. Closing the program is not being considered at this time, the province said. Again, bullshit.
Yep.
And to say that it's not even being considered, really?
No.
It's so maddening. The daycare owner, Max Nizamov, sorry, I probably butchered that, and Natalia Nizamova denies the allegations made against his staff and that was never made aware of them before they were made to the police and believes the claims are the outcome of a disgruntled worker. There are processes when we deal with the incident reports depending on severity, right? Notifying parents, bringing that to the director's attention. It's in writing. The teacher has to sign off on it. The director has to sign off on that. The parents have to sign off on it. That was a quote from Max. However, there was an inspection report that found that the daycare was non-compliant in reporting incidents in a correct manner to the director. So that totally discredits his entire statement.
Yep.
They were
Exactly.
found non-compliant of that.
Yep.
All right, but that statement doesn't hold up for anything now.
Can't. I just can't with this man. I just can't.
It's, so there were inspections at a second Sunvalley Kids Montessori in Acadia, which is also owned by Max. That resulted in 19 non-compliance concerns since February of 2023 to March 27, 2024, including a non-compliance of child guidance, which is described in the inspection as inflict physical punishment, verbal or physical degradation, or emotional deprivation. So the directors want us to believe that similar situations could not have happened at their other locations, but it did. Like, they're putting non-compliances about it. If there were inspections that resulted in a non-compliance of a child's guidance, which is described in the inspection as physical punishment or verbal or physical degradation, that implies that this behavior was witnessed by the person doing the inspecting, right? So this is not simply a non-compliance. This is child abuse, which last time I checked was a criminal offense in this country. So why was it not treated as such?
Yeah, interesting.
Like, physical punishment.
Yeah, so that would be 2 different locations.
Yeah, and
I wonder if Chris knows about that second one.
Yeah, like what are you saying to these? Like, they're little kids,
right?
What could you possibly be saying to them? Like, how are you degrading a 3-year-old?
Yeah,
what's wrong with you?
I know, right? I know. Yeah.
Like, that is just, that's heartbreaking and so maddening. You know, when we work with kids, we care for these little guys every day. Like, they are so vulnerable. How anyone could possibly physically abuse them or like mentally, like, come on.
And they're so sweet and innocent, and they're just so cute and little.
Right? Yeah. I could not look at one of them and just
be like, I'm going to drag you across the floor today.
Right? My goodness. Oh, it's just, what is wrong with these people?
I know.
So there's a pattern with these centers when there are multiples being owned by the same person or people, and non-compliances happen at one, they happen at all of them. And the owner always blames someone else. They claim racism or disgruntled employees, and they're never held accountable. This center is still operating today, and there are still children in their care. How many other innocent children are being treated poorly, abused, assaulted? Like, it's just, it's too much. I can't believe that they, like, with these non-compliances, you're still allowed to be open and looking after kids. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't, if this was, I hate to say, and I think someone mentioned this in another episode that we did, but if this was animals, they would be fined, right? Like, you can't, if someone was beating puppies, they go to jail. Yeah. But this is okay? Like, give me a break. Yeah. So Max is adamant that the non-compliance concerns have been addressed in both facilities and that all staff have been given additional training and that the centers are now meeting all requirements for a licensed facility. So the staff that assaulted children got more training, and that's it. No, like, consequences, you just get training. If you need training to tell you can't assault children, you should not be working with children.
Right. No, totally. But so we know for sure that they're still working there and we're not fired?
There was nothing that I found that said they were fired. So if they are, or if they were fired, then
good.
The only person that I found that is no longer at the daycare is the person that reported the incident.
The abuse, yeah.
So these daycares need to be held accountable. They should not be allowed to remain open or be closed down and then allowed to open again with a different name, which does happen.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but the owners and staff need to be held accountable for their actions. We're not talking about the staff using the wrong kind of paint or meals not having enough food groups. We're talking about child abuse and child endangerment.
Yeah.
This is more needs to be done for sure.
So get this. Mr. Max Nizamov, the owner of Sunvalley, is actually a realtor in Calgary with CIR. He has no background in childcare from what we could find. His education listed on LinkedIn is as followed. Alamati Institute of Power and Telecommunications. Power engineer, power communications. 1990 to 1995. Computer technician, 1988 to 1992. I don't know what school number 39 is.
Exactly.
School number 39, 1980 to 1988.
I mean, maybe that's like high school. But you were in high school for 8 years. That doesn't add up either.
Maybe. Yeah, that's crazy. So he has absolutely no education in childcare whatsoever, and this man runs and operates a daycare.
Well, he owns it. He owns the daycare.
Well,
so
yeah,
whether
owns it.
Yeah, but whether he technically works there or not, we don't know.
Right. He just owns it, and then But
even still, to own a business, you need to be involved in that business.
Yeah.
You need to be there at some point, and you need to have some knowledge in the business that you're owning.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Great, you've got the money to fund that business. That's fantastic for you, but you can't just fund it and then go, I don't know.
Yeah. Just wash
everybody else is supposed to run it. Yeah, you need to know all this stuff.
Yeah. Crazy. Kusum Mekar has been the director of Sunvalley since October 2018. While researching, I found strangely there is not a lot of info on her, which is odd considering the amount the daycare has been in the news and online. Yet many sources don't even mention her. Her Facebook and LinkedIn profiles are pretty bare bones too. Then I came across a note from Google that states some results may have been delisted consistent with local laws. Then looking into what this meant, I discovered this explanation. The recent ruling by the Court of Justice of the European Union has profound consequences for search engines in Europe. The court found that certain users have the right to ask search engines like Google to remove results for queries that include the person's name. To qualify, the results shown would need to be inadequate, irrelevant, no longer relevant, or excessive. This same notification came up on Google for everyone I searched related to Sunvalley Montessori.
Okay, so basically, what I have found this means is that if there is enough negative or an excessive amount of information that seems to be relevant to an incident. So basically everyone involved in this that had negative things stated about them, they were able to put a claim in with Google and have that taken down.
Oh my gosh.
And so I thought, okay, well, maybe this is something that everybody does, or that like maybe it's just a Google thing. So I started researching just nonsense, like looking up like everything from like Paw Patrol to like people's names to see how common this is.
Right.
It's not common for things that are not harmful to a person's reputation. So I'm guessing that they basically didn't want all this negative information out there, so they put in claims with Google and had it taken down.
That is
a shock. Yeah, there is shockingly like no information on these people at all. Now, I even Googled myself to see, I'm like, okay, well, let's see randomly what there was like 4 pages of Google.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm not like, I only own a day home. Right. But I do have others that like, I wrote books. So some of them were on that. So then I decided I'd Google my husband because he hasn't done anything that would publicly be online.
Right.
So there was lots on him too. I could find more on him and my children than I could find on these people.
Great.
And none of us had this disclaimer at the bottom.
Great.
So someone's pulling some strings somewhere is kind of what I'm thinking. Someone's having information taken off. Like if you own a business like a daycare, you want people to know about you. Parents are going to be researching these daycares. They don't have their staff listed. They don't have like everything is like they have the daycare plastered everywhere. Like the Google, every time you Google it, it's just like, here's my daycare. Like the daycare's website comes up,
Yeah.
and then a few sources for this is incident. That's it. And with the incident with Chris's son,
Yeah.
that comes up a tiny little bit in the news article, and that's it.
Yeah.
So everything is either been taken down or
That is so crazy.
something, right?
That's so crazy.
I was like, what?
She's a director, so surely parents are trying to Google her to make sure she's a safe person for their kids to be around, but they can't even find anything on her.
And she was like, it took me probably 2 hours of deep diving through Google to find anything on her.
That's crazy.
There's nothing. Like I have her education listed. That's it. And even that, so her education that's pretty bare bones too. And I couldn't find anything.
She didn't go to school in Canada. Well, maybe Montessori Teachers College.
So that's
early childhood diploma, early childhood education and teaching. Was that in Canada?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not as impressive as it sounds.
Okay.
It's, from what I could see, it would be a little bit more than taking your level 1.
Oh, well.
It's just like, this is how we teach Montessori curriculums, right? Like,
do you know how long the course is?
It looked like it was like 3 to 6 months. Like it was very vague. And it was like, but it's not a full-time every day in school.
Okay.
It's like an online type thing.
Okay. All right. And then in her country, did Master of Science, Chemistry, Bachelor of Education, and Bachelor of Science. There were no dates listed with her education, and I had no luck trying to verify any of it.
Yeah. So the schools that she listed, they do exist.
Okay. Yeah.
They do offer those programs. However, you're looking at someone that there's no dates listed. So they have a Master's of Science, a Master's of Chemistry, a Bachelor's of Education, and another Bachelor's of Science. That is a lot of schooling.
That would be a lot of schooling. Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, your master's degrees, that's years.
Yeah.
So if she'd have listed the time frame, maybe, but I'm finding this is happening with all these daycare centers. Their education that they're listing, has nothing to do with childcare. I mean, fair enough, her bachelor's of education did, but while she was getting a bachelor's degree in education, she was also getting a bachelor's of science, a master's of science, and a master's of chemistry. Like, something seems odd. And I mean, maybe it's me looking or like seeing something that isn't there, but it's just odd.
Yeah, that is a lot of schooling. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no dates listed with her education. We had no luck trying to verify any of it. Okay. Dasha Nizamov also worked at Sunvalley Kids Montessori. Advertising, marketing, Sunvalley Kids Montessori Mission Campus logo, early childhood educator, Sunvalley Kids Montessori Mission Campus, contract part-time, October 2023 to June 2024, 9 months. Calgary, Alberta, Canada, on site, worked with children ages 2 to 5 in a supervisory position, assisted in delivering weekly produce with precision, ensuring adherence to fast-paced guidelines, acted as a mentor to young kids, both socially and academically, preserved the condition of the Montessori and organized, cleaned when needed.
Okay, I'm going to jump in for a second here.
Yep.
So this is what she listed that her job was. So she worked with children like 2 to 5 in a supervisory position and all this stuff. Keeping in mind, she's part-time.
Well, did she even work with the kids?
She worked with children ages 2 to 5, supposedly, but then why?
But she was
maybe
a delivery person and a cleaner.
Right. It's strange because considering she is listed that she graduated high school June 2024, and there's also no name of the school listed. It just says high school diploma, September 2013 to June 2024. So she was in high school for 11 years. Right. And during this time that she worked with these kids, supposedly, she was in high school. So, yeah, you were working part-time because you did the 4 to 6 shift. We had high school students that came to our daycare center and worked that shift too. And basically, they were just like the regular staff usually left at 5. So they started at 4. The regular staff left at 5. So they basically just took care of the last few kids before the parents came at 6. So I feel like this is their daughter, though, like Max and I'm sorry, I forget the mom's name, but I think this is their daughter. But this is how little I can find on staff at this location, at these centers, right? So, and I'm aware that the information I was able to find online regarding their previous work experience and education is on LinkedIn. And it's quite possible that their education is accurate and they simply just didn't list it properly. And there's not really, like, I tried to look up how to verify someone's education and how to verify their degrees and stuff like that.
Right.
Basically, you have to phone the school and ask them. And I'm not calling these schools and asking them. Right?
No. Come on, Joanne.
Right.
Pull them all.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I say, it is possible that they didn't list and state their education properly. However, there seems to be some similarities between the owners and staff at Sunvalley and the Little Scholars Daycare that we discussed in a previous episode. Owners' education listed that is quite vague and has nothing to do with childcare. And much of their work, history, and experience, it's all proving impossible to be verified. So I'm not saying it's untrue. I'm simply pointing out the similarities. And I would hope that our government is doing a thorough background check on everyone that opens the daycare center. But I kind of have the feeling that they may not be.
I think there's just too many and they just don't have the manpower to verify everyone, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I get, like we said before, like if you've got the money to open these daycare centers, that's fine. You don't necessarily need an education background to open the daycare centers, but your staff is required to have a certain level of education.
Absolutely.
And it's your job as an owner, like this Max guy, there was tons of information on him on Google.
Mm-hmm.
However, it was all rave reviews about his realtor business.
Right.
And how great he is at selling homes. And there wasn't much at all linked with him other than, like I said, the news reports. Like this has been swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Very much so. Even when I was looking up the Little Scholars Daycare, I found it all over Reddit, all over Google reviews, everything. This one, not so much. So maybe it's a conspiracy theory that I just have in my mind, but this guy is well known in the community as a realtor. Mm-hmm. So he's got friends in places. He's got whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was easier for him to sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Google magically doesn't have anything. And, you know, we were taught that, and we teach our kids that everything you put online stays on there forever.
Right.
But apparently that's not the case.
No.
If you have the funds or know the right people, that shit gets taken down.
You can have it removed. That's crazy. Yeah. That's insane.
Right. So Sunvalley does not list all their current staff on their website or previous staff or anybody. In fact, it doesn't even list their owners on the website. It doesn't list their directors at all. I actually think that this should be mandatory.
It should be.
Yeah. Parents have the right to know who all the staff at the center are, not just the ones in the room that will be with their kids. The staff often move around, like we talked about, like to cover breaks or sicknesses or someone's holidays. It would be also beneficial for potential parents to be able to do their own research on the staff at the center, they're potentially taking their kids to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand there's also a level of privacy that staff members maybe want to have, but there should be a basic, this is me, this is, a little bit about me.
Yeah.
Like, as day home providers, we have all, like, we're out there, like, we don't have our secret profiles or anything like that.
No.
Parents want to know who we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Parents want to know who we are. Parents want to Google us and see if anything comes up. And I feel that anybody working with children, like, yes, you have to get your criminal record back, like, check, and your vulnerable sector check.
Yep.
I don't know if that's enough at this point with what we're seeing. When we're seeing all these incidences occur at daycares and stuff. So if this staff member was fired from Sunvalley, let's hope she was, or he, or whatever, let's hope they were fired. What's to stop them from going to another center and getting another job? What's to say that they just didn't remove her from one location and put her in another location?
Exactly. Right. And nobody would know because they don't list their employees on their website.
Exactly. And there are centers that do list their employees.
Yeah.
And if the center, I could see them saying, well, what about staff turnover? Well, your staff turnover shouldn't be that much that you can't update your website.
Yeah.
It takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. It can't be that bad. Like, and it's not on Facebook. It's not on anywhere. Like, LinkedIn seems to be the main source to where to find these people. And that's ridiculous. And there's barely anything listed either. Like, all this information was so difficult to find. So there's got to be more transparency here. Parents have a right to know who's watching their kids.
They do. They absolutely do.
And especially when we hear, and like we see on the moms groups all the time, someone will say, oh, I go to a daycare because it's safer than a day home. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Do you know when you go to a day home, you go to that person's home.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you can't walk into their home and get a good feel of that what that person is like. Right?
Yeah.
When you go to a daycare center, you don't know nothing about these staff members.
Right.
Right?
No, and nothing at all. Yeah.
And obviously they stand together. If one person does something wrong and someone speaks out against it, well, that person that spoke out against it is gone.
Yeah.
But the rest of the staff is there. So I don't know how confident that would make me feel as a parent that it's okay because if someone does something wrong, someone else will see it and step in, which is a very false sense of security, I think, that parents get. Parents seem to think that, if someone does something that's not okay, then someone else is going to step in and be like, no, you can't do that, and make sure that child is safe. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case.
It's not the case. No. Chris is lucky. He did have somebody step in and do that, but I don't think it happens that often.
No, especially like we couldn't find any other parents making any claims about kids at the center.
No.
So,
and you know what? I looked on the Google reviews. Did you look on their Google reviews?
And they were all shining, wonderful
like
reviews.
There was 2 reviews that were kind of negative, but nothing to do with, it seems like reviews got removed as well.
100%. They absolutely did.
Yeah, because Chris was talking about some reviews and what he was talking about, they were no longer there.
Yeah. Like I said, like I even went into Reddit, and Reddit is usually like the place that has the negative stuff as well, right? Like there's good stuff. Like I'm not saying Reddit in general is negative. I'm just saying if there is something negative going on, you find it on Reddit.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Like this is the shadiest ass daycare ever.
Right? Yeah. Like your daycare, like everything, I was thinking about that because I was going to post or use some of the negative Google reviews. And so I'm going through them and I'm like, for a center that sent 38 children to the hospital, it's really odd that there's no negative reviews.
Like nothing.
How is this a thing?
Yeah.
Like I'm guessing there's at least 38 sets of parents that have something negative to say.
Yep.
You know, like,
oh yeah, no, it definitely seems like, because they're, like I say, the reviews Chris was talking about, he was talking about a specific review, and that review is no longer there. So
yeah,
there's something up, right? Reviews are being, people are being removed. Everything's removed.
And you know, that just seems even more shady. Like, it makes my like conspiracy theory brain just go nuts, because I'm like, if you have to hide everything and you have to remove all these reviews and stuff, there's something more going on then, right? Absolutely. There has to be.
Yeah.
Why are you being so secretive if it's just the E. coli situation?
Yeah.
If that's the only thing, like, it happened, it's awful. Maybe it was a mistake. I really don't think so, but maybe, right? But that's all that's on there. And even that is not covered that much.
No.
There's like CTV, BBC, and Global. And it's like, it's a one little article. That's it. Like, I'm sorry, but you sent 38 kids to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
How is this not all over the internet?
Yeah, it's wild.
How is this not? It's not even all over Facebook. It's nothing. It's nowhere. I even searched them in, like, on Facebook. Nothing.
Yeah. It's like it never happened.
Yeah. It has been completely wiped out. And I'm sorry, but that's not okay.
No.
So we're here for you, man.
That's very shady. That's not right. Yeah. Something's going on.
We're here to remind people.
Yeah. So what else are they blocking, right? What else are they removing?
Exactly.
Things that have probably happened that we just haven't heard about yet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust them with anything. I wouldn't trust them with my cat.
Right. So let's put a call out there right now. If you have had your child at Sunvalley Montessori and stuff was not right, message us. Mm-hmm. We want to hear about it. We want to hear about it. We want to bring this to everybody. We want people to, like, we're going to be talking to Chris next week. And I hate to say that I am excited.
Oh, I am so
talking
excited.
to him, because it's so sad. I feel like, we shouldn't have to be talking about this situation with him. But I am excited to get his story out there. I want people to hear it. I want people to know, because
me too.
It is not cool what happened. It's
not cool what's happening to him, right? How everything's being removed now. Yeah, no. Cool. So, check this out. According to Alberta Health Services, Sunvalley has received more violations, this time more recent, March 21st, 2025. In the kindergarten room, water beads were used for a scooping activity. Okay, water beads can be harmful as they expand if swallowed or put into an ear and cause injury. Yes, you can be in a lot of trouble if you swallow water beads, and kids put them down. They look like gummy bears.
Right? And it seems like a harmless mistake.
Yeah.
But you're working with kids. With young kids, there's no room for these little minor harmless mistakes. Yeah. Right, but do better.
That's a pretty big mistake.
Yeah.
You're working with 2 and 3-year-olds.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Without constant supervision, right? Like, it's
exactly.
No, you can't have those in there. Okay. So hand washing. The staff washroom did not have paper towel to dry hands. Please ensure hand sinks are equipped with hand washing supplies. So that was corrected on site.
Yeah. And there again, that seems like a minor infringement.
Yeah, it's a minor one.
Except.
Okay, we can talk about E. coli again.
Exactly.
The fridge temperature in the infant room and junior toddler rooms was between 7 to 8 Celsius. Please ensure the following fridge temperature is below 4 Celsius. A temperature log with corrective actions is maintained. So their fridge, they didn't learn anything there, but okay.
Exactly. I combine that with not properly washing or drying your hands.
Yeah. And
crazy. Like, come on, people.
Okay, infant room. Few clean dishes were stored on top of the hand sink. Please ensure dishes or any other classroom supplies are not stored in the washroom. Okay.
Right?
Infant washroom. No hand sink is not closing properly. Oh, the hand sink is not closing properly. Please repair. I don't know what that means. Like the taps?
Yeah. So I'd assume it's either the taps or it's the drain.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, look, so if you go on the other side, it's a plumbing system, sanitary drainage system, or private
So
sewage system.
Okay. Children's cots and classroom supplies were stored in the staff washrooms. Storing classroom supplies in the washrooms is not a sanitary practice. Please remove them and ensure classroom supplies are not stored in the washroom.
Right? You guys caused E. coli.
That's crazy.
Come on.
That's insane to me. Just gonna
How did they
take my toys and put them in my bathroom for a little bit.
Right. This blows my mind. How did you not learn? You sent, I'm going to say it again, you sent 38 children to hospital. You have 8 children on dialysis.
Yeah.
Your response is, well, I'm still going to store our child, like our kids' toys
and not
in the
have
bathroom.
adequate cooling, adequate fridge temperatures.
Like, maybe they need to take their light or their availability to serve food away.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So clearly they haven't learned their lesson from their last time at all, especially with the health violations and non-compliances. There needs to be something more done with these centers that are continuously non-compliant. I mean, how severe does this have to be? Sunvalley's negligence had 8 children on dialysis, multiple non-compliances, a child abuse allegation, and yet they're still allowed to remain open. Like, I get there's a need for childcare spaces, but at what cost?
Right? Yeah.
What are we willing to risk? Right? Like, and I feel bad for the parents that are taking their kids to these centers that maybe have no idea what has happened in the past. Like, maybe, I mean, I don't watch the news ever. Like, I haven't watched the news in years. So unless somebody tells me or unless something pops up on Facebook, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I also don't have my kids in childcare. So,
right.
You know, maybe they just genuinely don't know what happened, or maybe they trust that things got fixed. But clearly,
I think
they did not.
I think they don't understand what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that would send their child here knowing that all this has happened in the past. They don't know.
Even one incident alone is big enough to just terrify me as a parent. Like, I mean, my kids are grown now, but like when they were little, if I knew one of these incidences, they'd be out. And it's not worth it, right? Like, it's not worth it. It's like huge risk. We're talking young kids, like babies and kids under 5. It's scary. It's scary, the thought that that they still could be exposed to all these health concerns and stuff. And I mean, I'm not trying to say that people can't learn from their mistakes and get better, because, you know, some facilities have learned from their mistakes and got 10 times better, and that's great. But clearly this one is not one of them. You know, if you'd had so many non-compliances a year ago that caused children to go to the hospital, if this was me, I would make sure every single thing was 100% perfect all across the board. Everything was done exactly how it should be, or better. Yeah. Because the guilt that I would feel from causing all those kids to be sick alone would make me want to do better. Yeah. 100%. So it just goes to show maybe this business is not for everybody. Right? Yep. Okay, so next week, like I said, we'll be talking to Chris. Yes. We'll get to hear a lot more about this. It'll be a good one. Yeah. Excited for it. People are going to want to hear that from, you know, we can do all the research we want and we can give you the facts and give you all the information, but to hear it from a parent's, like, right out of his mouth. Yeah. That is going to be a tough one. It's going to be tough to hear all that, but it's going to be so important. Yeah, it is. I'm really pumped for it. I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it for Day Home Divas this week.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Day Home Divas, on TikTok at dayhome.divas, and join our Facebook group, Day Home Divas.
Hope you join us again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.